which is the big news with George Lucas is that all the neckbeard fanboys that are like groveling at the feet of Mike Zero and Star Wars Theory have come full circle back to George Lucas as the enemy. and if you're wondering,
I love the cognitive dissonance here.
And if you're wondering how the fuck did that happen, strap in. So here's the first thing. And the people who claim this, I'll never change their mind. I'm not trying to, because it's just,
because fuck them, that's why.
Yeah, people are too far cognitively gone. And I feel weird about defending a multi-billion-dollar corporation because I hate them, right? But when someone says something factually untrue, I hate that too. So like now, here I am trying to defend Disney when it's a corporation, and just by virtue, I fucking hate it, right?
Like, Disney doesn't need your defense.
Yes.
They have lawyers for that.
If you're one of the idiots online who are like, oh, Disney went get woke, go broke, and they're hemorrhaging money, it's false.
It's factually untrue.
It's demonstrably false. In fact, Star Wars specifically is doing extremely well financially, having posted close to $13 billion of revenue from Star Wars alone. Which you consider that they paid $4 billion for the franchise.
And then spent probably another $1.5 billion or so developing all the shows and movies.
Now, this is only the revenue report only pertains to theatrical releases. This excludes revenue from shows, video games, the Disney World and Disneyland, and all that other, and the toys and shit.
Shows is really nebulous because Disney has been losing money on Disney Plus since they started it.
But they can kind of afford to because of all this other shit, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't equal, it's not like, oh, well, they took so many losses there that they haven't made anything. Not even close.
No.
It's just $12 billion on just the films. Holy God. Yeah. Like, that's fucking insane.
There's another dimension to this whole issue, which you might be about to get to. It's that Disney itself is currently in the midst of a little bit of a... I won't call it a civil war, but Bob
like
Iger,
a hostile takeover. Yeah. They didn't talk at all about Avengers or any of the other big things. But like that's pretty much it. Like Star Wars
making money.
Yes. Now,
shut the fuck up.
Like on one hand, all the go woke, go broke guys are demonstrably, empirically incorrect.
Yes.
Well, they change what they're saying now. Because they'll be like, oh, they're lying, despite the fact that it would be illegal for them to do so. Like they have a responsibility to their shareholders. It's a public company. They have a responsibility to their shareholders to post correct information so that shareholders can make decisions based on that. If you lie to shareholders, you go to prison.
The SEC would be up their ass.
Yes. So if you're like, oh, they're just lying, they're just making it up. No. And I know you want it to be true. I know it does not support the narrative that you're fucking balls deep in, but fuck off. There we are. On the other hand, they made $12 billion and that's fucking gross. That one, like just the idea, no one should be making that much money. That's an obscene amount of money. And Disney at its core is a corporation and is evil. Just not for the reasons that you think. For entirely other real world reasons. Okay, now, there is an ongoing proxy fight happening for the soul of Disney. Now,
but by soul, he means control of the board of directors.
Yes, which is apparently Nelson, Peltz, and Trian Partners have been trying to gain board seats.
Some venture capitalist assholes. No. You don't need to root for them. There are no good guys in this fight.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to pick a side. Yeah. There's no good guys. You can just sort of sit here and laugh at both of them.
In fact, they're all terrible, right? So I've seen people like, oh yeah, well these anti-woke guys are trying to take control of Disney so they can do everything.
Who the fuck do you think Bob Iger is?
Yeah.
He's a fucking billionaire middle-aged white dude.
Yeah. It's like that's not why. They're doing it because Disney is making more money than they've ever made. It has value and they want to own it, right? They want to make decisions for it.
They're also sensing a moment of weakness because while Disney is posting incredible profits, its growth has actually slowed a tiny bit recently. Yeah. And, if you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, people think you have a responsibility to not only increase your profit every quarter, but also increase your rate of growth every single quarter.
For infinity.
Yes.
Yeah, which is just the concept alone is insane. And that's one of the core problems of the society that
Capitalism
we live in.
is so fucked up. Now, you have no idea.
Iger is trying to rally the troops.
Yes.
All right. Because
Because he wants to continue being chairman of the board of Disney.
Right. He likes being in that
He likes his
position of
job.
power. Yeah. So they got George Lucas to weigh in and defend Iger.
I read this statement that's supposed George Lucas did not write this thing.
No.
He doesn't. Either he had a lawyer write it up for him, or Disney gave it to him, and he just fucking looked into the camera and read off the sheet of paper.
Yep. He probably had Lawrence Kasdan write it.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, if the Lawrence Kasdan of lawyers wrote it.
Basically, it's what it says is, hey, Bob Iger's doing a good job. And since I am one of the biggest shareholders in Disney now,
he got like $1.8 billion
in stock options.
Yeah. When they sold.
So he's one of the biggest Disney shareholders.
He has a lot of Disney shares.
Yeah.
Which means he has a lot of votes.
Yeah. And he also has an immense influence over other shareholders as well, just because of who he is and everything. So with this, they like... I imagine it will go the way that Iger wants it to go.
Probably.
So the reason all the neckbeards are pissed off is because they have it in their mind that these guys are trying to take it over to like reverse the woke or whatever, which is not what's happening.
No, not at all.
People at this level of business don't make decisions based on that, unless you're Elon Musk, and that's why when you go and buy a company and try to make it unwoke, you immediately
destroy everything,
destroy its value, right? Because that's not how decisions are made. You do what is popular. You sell to the largest group of people that you can. It doesn't matter what the largest group of people want. Like that's what you go for, right? And they, so like they don't care about all that shit. The only thing they care about is how do we extract the most amount of money from every single person, right? And so they think that they have a better way to do it. So they're trying to. Also, Disney is worth a whole bunch. So, like you said. There are no bad guys, but
there are no good guys.
Yeah, no good guys.
They're all bad guys.
Right. And
every single one.
The anti-woke thing, these guys aren't thinking about it. That's just, it's not weighing in on their decisions. But certain people who are really into the Mike Zero, Doomcock, Star Wars theory thing really think that they're white knights coming in to save everyone from woke. And George Lucas speaking out against that has become a problem for them. So now
because for years they were saying George Lucas is going to come back any day now and save Star Wars. Yep.
And now he is the guy that ruined everyone's childhoods, and he's a woke liberal, blah blah blah, which we knew for fucking ever, by the way, because
he's a fucking hippie.
He has been saying all this, like he's been saying some of the most liberal bullshit since the 70s, since people knew about him, right?
Since before it was cool.
Yeah. So we knew that he was a lefty hippie, Yeah. So that's fine. It's really funny. It's like the snake eating its own ass.
Yeah.
And it's funny is that you go back a year into the Mike Zero catalog of trash, and you'll find videos about there's a confirmed source that that Lucas is going to buy Star Wars back, or Disney's going to employ him to take over Star Wars, and they're going to kill Kathleen Kennedy and all this other shit. And now, since they can't get their cognitive dissonance can't get around the message because it came from him, it very clearly came from him. So now they're like, what does Master Mike Zero say? Well, we'll just go with that.
I wonder if things are ever going to get to the point where Kathleen Kennedy is just one bad tweet away from all those awful people saying Kathleen Kennedy's the new savior.
Yeah, right.
She's just one hot mic away.
Yeah,
one questionable comment about black people away from becoming
the hero of the right. Yeah, I know. It's funny how, and this isn't necessarily a right wing thing, by the way. Both political sides tend to latch on to figures that they kind of deify as they're gonna do this. So a good example for Star Wars is all the morons who are Dave Filoni is gonna save Star Wars, right? There's always the one and it's usually a male. Yes. It's always the guy that's gonna save everything, right? And there's always the enemy, the face of all the frustration and the demon of the situation, which is almost always a female. In this case is Kathleen Kennedy. In politics, it was Nancy Pelosi for the longest time or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's because that's how small the brains are. It's how that works. There's the hero, there's the villain, and there's this big fight. And that's what all of Mike Zero's videos are about how here's the hero, here's the villain, they're fighting. and my sources say. Right? It's all bullshit and it's bad for you.
We've talked about this bullshit for way too long.
Yeah,
Let's move on.